Hey, Pete Tomasi here at New York Comic Con 25. Just want to say hey to everybody out there at Nerd Initiative, and we've got great stuff going on at Ghost Machine with Hornsby and Halo and the Rockefellers and the whole great line, so check it out.
Powered by Fantasyverse. Welcome to Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Each week, the NI Bullpen will be covering the world of comics, talking to creators, deep diving into some fantastic stories, and much more. Now let's hand it over to the team and turn a page.
Welcome to the Day 2 recap of New York Comic Con, live and direct from New York City. I am Ken M. You know me as the host of the OD Page podcast, also the editor-chief at nerdinitiative.com. To my right, your left at home, the head of NI Wrestling, but one of our featured members of our Nerd Initiative Comics Bullpen, Rich.
That is right. I am here. I am still alive.
Yes.
The rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated as I am here still. Although, let's be honest, New York Comic Con Day 2, oh boy, we had one of the longest day ones ever coming into a day 2, and whew, it was definitely one of the busiest day 2s that we've had in quite some time. But
Yes.
we're going to talk all about that. But before we do, I implore you to make sure you smash that subscribe button. Click the bell icon for notifications so you know whenever we go live or whenever a new video comes up. And of course, last but not least, hit that thumbs up so the bosses at Nerd Initiative know you want more pop culture references, whether it be comic books, wrestling, TV, movies, or more, on the home of pop culture positivity on YouTube, the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. Ken, hell of a day at New York Comic Con, day 2.
Yes, when I have to get the phone out to do my notes, you know it's a big day. So bear with me on this, but you're absolutely right. Day 2 had a lot of energy, coming off the heels of a fantastic day 1, one of the busiest days on record, and day 2 did not let down. First, we got to start off, though, shouting out Mad Cave Studios. Swung over there early in the morning and say hi to everybody, so shout out to Frank Allison and the team there. Doing amazing work, so definitely want to give them their flowers, because that started off the day right for us.
I also want to point out that if you are following Nerd Initiative on social medias, you got to see our beginning of the day video, which was shot at Mad Cave Studios. You got the logo and everything in the background, and you better be following Nerd Initiative on all the social medias, because boy, we've had a lot of coverage coming out. So a lot of what we're talking about here is just rehashing some of that, but you've probably seen some of the pictures, which you will see again here. So make sure you're following.
Absolutely. But the first panel that we hit to for the day, one of the big ones, DC Comics coming at it again, their Gotham City panel. And man, oh man, did they have a lot going on with that. Jorge Jimenez, Scott Snyder, Nick Dragata, which we know from Absolute Batman, Shea Grayson, Teenie Howard Babstar, and Erica Henderson were all there talking about the new books that are coming out. And they really had the crowd eating out of the palm of their hands. This was one that I think the crowd, obviously big fans of what's going on with Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez's run from Batman. Jorge Jimenez gave it a very passionate speech. Everything he was saying was really pouring with emotion, connecting with the crowd. I know him and Scott Snyder had a hug at one point too, because like he was thanking Scott about when he was breaking into the business and talking about Batman. Like it's really just insightful conversations. That's stuff that you don't see every day, and to see those two like have that moment, like everybody in the crowd was feeling that. But we also had some new books get announced too, one of which, Sirens Love Hurts, which is Teenie Howard Babstar Black Label.
Ooh.
So this is going to be kicking off 4 issues in February. They were super excited to talk about it. I can't wait to see what they have cooked up for this. Whenever we're talking the Gotham City Sirens, you know it's going to be a wild time. And this kind of led right into a little tease about what is going on in Batman. And they have a new group coming out called Taurus, which they announced there at the panel. A very interesting character popped up on screen. So whether it's an organization or an actual character, you have to wait and see. But the fact we're getting a new rogue added in, that is a very cool moment to see. So they flashed that on screen. And then obviously, I think the biggest news of the day for DC today, well, I'll put an asterisk by it. Absolute Catwoman is coming. So Shea Grayson and Scott Snyder are teaming up to write this. Bengal is drawing this. This is going to be a 6-issue limited series, dropping in 2026. So coming off the heels of Absolute Batman 13, which we saw the Absolute Catwoman debut. This is one that definitely had everybody talking, and really excited to see more characters coming into the Absolute universe. I know you're a big fan of what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of what's going on in the Absolute universe, and of course, hearing some more great things. Absolute Catwoman, definitely very exciting, and of course, getting the confirmation that the Absolute Joker design that we had seen coming through so that also happened there. So that's kind of interesting because we had been speculating whether that was going to be the actual design, and it looks like it is going to be.
Well, we do know that Jock is going to be taking over the art for that issue, which is going to be issue 15 in December. So we're going to find out why. Scott Snyder said this is the most terrifying version of the Joker he's ever written. Put that into context.
It looks like the most terrifying version of the Joker I've ever seen.
Right, but if you've seen the run thus far, you know what the Joker has been doing, and it's been absolutely insane of how just different that his approach has been than the one we know from pop culture. So to see the origin of this is going to be truly amazing to watch. The other Bat book that was announced was Harley and Ivy, Life and Crimes by Erica Henderson. That's going to be coming out November 5th. So that is going to be a fun series that's going to be kicking off. And obviously, the Bat family is always doing big business. I mean, if you picked up any of the books on the line right now, whether it's Batman Dark Patterns, which is one of my personal favorites out right now, Batman and Robin, which is absolutely kicking off a brand new arc with a very interesting twist to it, along with Nightwing, along with the other books that are out in the Bat universe. Like, they're doing a lot of great things on this line. So this was a perfect complement to what's going on, especially going into their biggest panel of the weekend, and that's DCKO.
I will throw this out there. A bigger takeaway for me there, Harley Quinn in another book. Obviously, we know that the Dynamite book that just came out this past week, Harley Quinn and Ex Elvira, if you will.
Yep.
Very good and fun book. And now we're going to see DC also using it. So it's like a renaissance almost for Harley Quinn. And some people are like, well, she didn't go anywhere. But like lately in the comics, she has not been up to as much as what point she has. So going back to that is kind of like, I don't want to say course correcting, but it is definitely putting a focal point on a really strong character in the DC universe, and also now letting her play outside of the DC universe, which is kind of interesting in its own.
Yeah, so really kind of cool to see what they're doing, but like I say, going into DCKO, which all bets are off. I know that there was an image released tonight as we were recording that we don't know this. We don't know what it entails. We do know that DCKO is going to be one of the most important panels on Saturday.
I will be at the panel.
Yes.
So I will be confirming earlier. But there was Scott Snyder even shared an image that may or may not be leaked from the panel tomorrow. If you haven't seen it already, we kind of throw it out there. And inside of this picture, there was Sub-Zero.
Yep.
There was Samantha from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Yeah.
Which is weird because that's not even owned by DC. Although there is some workings with them in IDW, so there could be possibility. Smoke to that fire.
Yeah.
Also, Homelander.
Yeah, Vampirella, I believe.
Vampirella was there. Annabelle the doll from the Conjuring universe, which would make sense because that is a WBD product.
Right, so we don't know what this graphic means.
We don't know if this is real. We don't know if it's Scott Snyder trolling everybody. We don't know if this is a real leak to get people excited for the KO. Let me tell you this. The comic fans are already super stoked
you don't
for DCKO.
need to throw more gas on that fire. In all honesty, you don't. So it is going to be interesting to see the reaction tomorrow. That is one of the big 3 panels, which we'll tease at the end of the show here today. But DCKO, not that you needed more motivation to go to it, but oh my God.
But neck and neck all week, we've talked about this, has been DC and Marvel. The big 2 are back and forth. Yesterday, as we talked, we had the DC Vertigo announcement, and then we had an awesome Spider-Man panel. Today, we have the Batman panel. And then we have the X-Men panel.
Yes.
Which, it looks like they have definitely done the heavyweight fight because tomorrow, we'll talk about what's tomorrow later, is the heavyweight fight, is the main event between the 2. And it looks like they really did pair these off very well because both me and you were in attendance for the X-Men panel. Let us, what went down?
Well, it's something for the X-Men line coming out of the Age of Krakoa, and they've been doing the From the Ashes, which has had, I guess, mixed results for fans. I know there's certain books I love from that line. I know there's certain ones I'm kind of, okay with. But it's going back to that 90s era of X-Men. So we are coming out of the brand new crossover, the Age of Revelation, which is just kicked off. So it's kind of a little homage, in my opinion, to the Age of Apocalypse. So this panel kind of teased what's happening at the end. And there's a graphic that'll be up on screen here that is paying homage to the Avengers Initiative. and Todd Brevoort and CB Sobalski, who were there in attendance, were mentioning about, like, this is very symbolic. Like, this is something about when you come out of the Age of Revelation, this image is going to mean something. To what degree, we don't know, but it seems like it's going to be coming back to basics. They announced a slew of new books. So I don't want to go over all of them, but, like, trust us, there's something for everybody in the X-Men line. But the ones that really jumped out, Inglorious X-Force.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was one that definitely caught my attention, which I believe the quick synopsis was Cable has a list and he's putting it together.
So what happened was, you're going to find out during the Age of Revelation, and this is not spoiling because they were already saying it was not a spoiler, that Cable gets knocked out of a battle and it knocks him out to the past, back. And it's not really the past because obviously Age of Revelation takes place in the future.
Yeah.
So it actually just knocks him back into present time. And when he comes back, though, and he comes to, he's missing some of his memory. But all he has is Memento style, a list of mutants, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so he decides to put this team together. These are going to become the Inglorious X-Force. But the catch is, Cable doesn't know whether this is a list of the mutants he needs to stop the future from happening, or are they going to cause what they see in the future to happen?
Yeah, it's kind of a really interesting concept. So that one is one that really caught my eye.
Oh yeah,
we have a Rogue series coming out, which if you've been reading the Uncanny X-Men run by Gail Simone and David Marquez, in my opinion, one of the best ones out there. To see what Rogue has elevated her status, like she is the true leader of the X-Men, and to see her get her own series here, super excited to see what's going on with that. They did announce a Magic and Colossus series, which I know a lot of fans were super excited about. Shout out to our own Megan from Vigilante Vibes podcast. Put this in our chat, and I know she was absolutely elated about this. The Magic series has been very good. We were wondering what was going to happen at the end of it. Well, now she's paired up with her brother Colossus.
And we got to see some cool teaser out there as well.
Yes. Also, Wade Wilson Deadpool by Ben Piercy. That is going to be wild.
The greatest voice in all of comics, by the way.
Yeah.
If you've never heard Ben Piercy speak. But further than that, one of the best creators in comics as well. Done amazing work, lately. I know he's been doing Punisher lately.
He's been doing Punisher,
and
Wolverine,
maybe we'll get some. I was gonna say maybe we get some crossover there. Of course, Wolverine was not that long ago. Yeah. There's some news about that as well. But I'm excited to see what he does with Deadpool.
Yeah. We're getting a Cyclops limited series, and then one that Generation X-23. So we're gonna have a little more update about Wolverine Scout and their new mission and what's going on there. Super excited about that one. But the one that I cannot stop raving about, Miro Adeli's Storm series has been one of the best comics, not just Marvel comics, one of the best comics out there. And I was curious what was going to happen after this crossover, because we don't know at the end of events, like books are going to be changed. There's some secrets that they did not reveal. They said there are some more books that they're going to announce, but they have to wait to the end of the crossover event to announce them because they're that big game changing. We did hear, though, they are going to announce Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant is #1, a brand new volume of that run, and as long as Miro is writing it, I'm in. Cannot rave enough about what has been done in this original run, really elevating Storm to that A-list status that I've always felt she's been at, but the creative take that he and Lucas Renrick and the rest of the team that has been on the book has done is just absolutely next level.
I agree. That was huge news there. I'm glad that they have a great creative team on there. I think my biggest news, and they couldn't talk much about it, is that Gail Simone will still continue to be on Uncanny X-Men.
Yes.
And they made a huge deal that they can't talk about, but the pitch that is coming up for what she's going to be doing is something that they let loose, that everybody at Marvel, once they heard it, was like the, thunderous clapping, amazing. They can't wait to actually unveil it. So it's something wild, it's something new, and it's something different. But they can't talk about it,
no.
which is crazy. But I'm just happy Gail Simone's still there.
Yeah, the only thing I could say is if you are a fan of X-Men 97 and you want to see that in a comic form, Gail Simone's take is probably the closest you'll get to that. It's amazing. It's one of the best runs, I think, in recent memory of the X-Men. I love reading it every month. So this is one that really left fans excited. Great Q&A after. So there's a lot to be excited about for the X universe. I know that, it kind of, the fans we always rally around the X-Men because we want to see that be the line that we know it is. And in this day and age, granted, their journey has taken them many places, but there's still some great books on this line. I'm excited to see some of the new ones coming out. And then let alone what happens at the Age of Revelation. Like I say, Doug Ramsey has never been my favorite character. So to see him now in this power level of like Apocalypse is weird. But I'm along for the ride. I want to see what Jed McKay and company are doing here. So
Listen, man, I was just happy some of the art that they showed that, obviously we didn't take pictures of, but some of the art they showed was stunning, and there's some things hidden all over the place. And for the new series, that Avengers Initiative style photo that they kept showing, and tell us there's Easter eggs in it. I'm sure we'll put that on the screen as well. It was on the screen earlier, and trust me, you're going to want to pay attention to that because that is a key to a lot of things, is what they're promising.
Yeah. So next up for me was IDW Publishing. Shout out to everybody there. And their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. I mean, Rich, you've been reviewing a lot of it for Nerd Initiative. What's been your take?
Oh, man, the Turtles line is amazing. We are coming up on the closing of the Jason era, Juan Ferrara era of the TMNT main line. Their last issue, I almost said episode. It reads like episodic television. Mm-hmm. It's so damn good. But their last issue is coming up at the end of the month. By the way, if you would like a spoiler-free first look, self-serving, I wrote one for nerdinitiative.com. So go check that out, because IDW did provide us with that. And I will tell you this much, without spoiling anything, the last page of that book is a game changer. So you're definitely going to want to read what I wrote about it, and you're definitely going to want to pick that up on October 22nd, I do believe, is when TMNT number 13 drops, number 12 drops.
Yep.
They were more focusing on some of the side adventures, and I know that I did a special first look for TMNT X Godzilla, which Tim Seeley is writing. Phenomenal looking. Tim Seeley is also writing the Godzilla book for IDW as well, so it's kind of like a cool meshing of the two worlds. I think that that's really incredible. If you're not paying attention to that, you should be. And I know they announced some other things that I was not at the panel. I will talk about where I was at. But what else did they announce there?
No, at the panel they had Andrew Joustra, Sarah Meyer, Tim Seeley, like you mentioned, Jake Thomas, and Dan Waters. And they were teasing about Shredder, Casey Jones, a lot of the books that are coming out too. And it was just kind of a celebration of the fandom. Like, they really were talking about their favorite moments in TMNT. Like, what was their favorite toys, what cartoons, or versions. It was just a real fun celebration of everything TMNT, and obviously they're doing this big renaissance right now. Like, in all honesty, the books that have been coming out by IDW have been really solid, no matter where you're picking up. Even if you're jumping in at the end of Aaron and Ferreira's run, it's a great book to just catch up on 1 through 12 and jump in. And then this issue number 13 is a perfect one for new readers to get into. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure to check it out. There's a lot of buzz stuff that's going on with this. Like I say, buzz stuff is the easiest word I could say, because this line continues to impress and explode, and we're going to see it go into some different directions, so I can't wait to see.
Absolutely. Like I said, if you're been out of the TMNT realm too, the miniseries with TMNT X Godzilla is going to be awesome. So make sure you're checking that out. In November is when that one will drop as well. So with that, I said that I wasn't at the TMNT panel, which I was going to be, but then we got invited by our good friends over at Tiny Onion Studios. And you know what the fun part about Tiny Onion is? They know how to party.
Yeah.
And they partied hard with a new game for Exquisite Corpses. So if you're not familiar with Exquisite Corpses is a new book that is, well, actually it's been out for a few months now, that is being made by James Tynion IV and Michael Walsh. And of course, the catch to it and the caveat is that every single issue they have a different writer and artist who joins them that kind of changes the pace of everything going on. And also it is about the 13 original colonies that have the 13 most powerful families. Each one runs one of those colonies, and every 5 years they have a serial killer battle royale to see who is going to run the country for the next 5 years. So it's like some real shadow government stuff, and it's obviously a lot of fun. You have some pretty eccentric killers that have some really cool stuff going on. So why wouldn't that lend that to being a card game? And so basically, Exquisite Corpses, the game, is a card game where you get to pick of being one of the killers. Each killer has different powers. There's different event cards. There's different strategies. And it's something you can play socially and have a lot of fun with your friends at home. If you want to check out the game, you can go to a website. It is live today. It is playexquisitecorpses.com. You want to check that out because you can get some really cool resources, and you can sign up for the Kickstarter because alerts when the Kickstarter goes live, because in May, it will be first sold through Kickstarter. After the Kickstarter is completed, then and everything gets shipped out, then it will be sold on Tiny Onion's web store, and also hopefully in game shops, because James Tynan is huge on making sure LCSs get product and stuff like that. They're even opening up a retailer one for the Kickstarter as well.
Excellent.
Which is really, really cool. But it's a really cool game. I suggest looking into it. If you have friends that like to play games and everything like that, I would say definitely most 100% sign up for those alerts, because you're going to want to jump in on this in May when it goes up, because I know personally I will be, because it's that awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, the book has been amazing. So if you haven't checked it out, it's one of the best books of the year. So a lot of good things happening in this panel. Tiny Onion's exploding right now. So if you're not on board with what they're doing, get on board soon.
Yes. And then, while we were doing that, because I do wrestling, I was, all of these happened at the same time, by the way. Thankfully, my co-host for Wrestling Night Live, Miss Sammy, she was in town for one day only, and I put her to work because at the same time, he was at TMNT and I was at Exquisite Corpses. AEW XDC Studios, or basically comics, announced their partnership, which we knew was coming for a while.
Yep.
But now it's solidified. We are going to be getting an AEW comic book mixing AEW superstars with DC comic book heroes. And great panel from what Sammy was telling us, mostly wrestling heavy, not as much on the comic side, but they did run a wrestling story angle as Darby Allin crashed the party and attacked John Moxley with a glass bottle of some sort, sending the room in a tizzy.
Yeah, it was a little wild, but you know what? AEW has always had a great relationship with New York Comic Con when they've come. The first year of AEW, they had a a panel down there, which, some hijinks happened, which is great, but it gets the crowd involved, gets everybody amped up. So to see him come back in this manner, especially with DC Comics, is amazing. I'm really interested to see what the book is going to be about and see how the pairing does, but the panel had a lot of high energy and everybody was talking about the angle it was ran. So, it's a great way to go into AEW's shows, and obviously they got a big pay-per-view coming up too.
Absolutely. And they also gave out an ash can to everybody in attendance. We did get our hands on one. So, yeah, pretty cool. It's out there. Maybe we'll do some stuff with it. But it's definitely something I can't wait to see. Also, if for those of you who picked up issue 1 of DCKO, there was a special AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page variant cover.
Yep.
So they're really actually taking this all over the place, including their biggest comic book event, if you will, currently.
It's a smart move, and I like to see where they go with this, because obviously there's a great synergy between wrestling and comics. So to see that grow, especially for AEW that is really trying to, make some ground in getting new viewers to watch the shows, it's a great way to do some cross promotion. So I want to see more of it. And obviously we're seeing a lot of books right now crossing into wrestling and comics. Like I say, it's nothing but a big bucket of win for everybody involved.
Absolutely. But that wasn't the end of our night.
No.
By the way, the end of our night, we decided, hey, we want to do something for us. Now, mind you, I enjoy going to all the other panels, enjoy hearing all of this stuff because I enjoy doing comic book stuff. But occasionally, you're like, you see something on a docket and you go, that is made for me. And that would be the crossover event that we didn't know we wanted or needed, but we needed and wanted both.
Yes.
And that, of course, is Marvel, and they were teaming up with
Mass Appeal.
Oh, and if you don't know who Mass Appeal is a hip hop. Basically, they do a bunch of stuff. They're doing movies. They're doing movies, TV, clothing, and of course, they're putting out albums. And the big thing that they're doing right now is they're doing a Legends line of albums, which is included in this Legend line. Dropping today as we are recording, was the new Mobb Deep album.
Yep.
So they have a new Mobb Deep album come out. New De La Soul is on its way. We know that we're getting a new Ghostface Killah album, Raekwon, and one of the bigger ones on a Big L. Yep. And one of the bigger ones on the docket of course, is Nas and DJ Premier coming together to do an album. And, of course, Slick Rick the Ruler.
Yeah. A lot of great music is coming. And to see this crowd show up late night at the Javits, and they brought the energy. So Rob Markman, who is the moderator for the panel, got everybody excited for it. And when Nas came out on the stage, everybody exploded. You know, just the crowd gave a lot of energy. And then when Slick Rick came out,
I was going to say, basically they surprised us because the only person listed for this was Nas. And then they're like, Nas comes out, they ask him a couple questions. You know, first of all, huge stuff doing for a panel at New York Comic Con. We got the loud music, crowd standing up, everybody's cheering. Nas comes out, and then they're like, hey, we saw you surprises. And they say the ruler, and everybody knows there's only one ruler, and that's Slick Rick. And then we go from Slick Rick to the chef. So we got Raekwon out there. Then we end up with getting Tony Stark himself. Ghostface Killer. Then we got De La Soul, and like I said, we finished it up, rounded out the event with DJ Premier. So it was a great panel. Like legendary hip hop status panel. And of course, they did a comic book as well.
Legend Habit is out on Whatnot right now, and they were doing a lot of great promotion for that. So if you haven't checked that book out, make sure to get over to Whatnot and see what it is all about. And just coming off that energy they were giving the crowd and telling great stories and how important it was, you know, about the connection between hip hop and comics, and Marvel has always had a great relationship doing that. And especially a few years ago, they did the homage covers of some of the great books to hip hop albums. They know what they're doing. So to see them paired up like this was a great moment to see. And like I say, a lot of the stories we were hearing, you know, and I forget who exactly said it, but there was only one place we could do this panel, and that was New York.
Yeah, that was basically, I mean, Rob even came out during his speech and was like, you know what, no disrespect to any of the other cons, but this is New York Comic Con. This is the best con. And there's only one place we could do this. And I mean, it was super, there's a lot of emotions because, of course, you know, we've lost a member, De La Soul. Obviously, Prodigy's no longer with us from Mobb Deep. Big L has been gone for, you know, quite some time. And it's kind of cool that they all have albums coming out. And it's really going to, like, put them back in the zeitgeist in the forefront. We heard a little bit of the Mobb Deep album, like I've couple songs, and then of course the Slick Rick album was phenomenal. It's gotten a lot of, think about it, 60-year-old Slick Rick is still slaying it out there, like putting people in. And so if you're a hip hop fan, check out what Mass Appeal is doing with all of the great stuff with all these legendary artists. But also for us comic book fans who like hip hop, get your hands on the event, because Legend Has It looks amazing. The art in it looks phenomenal. The characterization looks phenomenal. They just did a massively good job, in my opinion.
Everything looked great about this, and like I said, the legends are gone, but not forgotten, never forgotten. And this book really paid some homage to that. And you know, even when you're hearing the guests on the stage, that's the point they drove home, and you really had that connection with the crowd. The energy, I'll have to say, like in all the years I've gone to Comic-Con, and we're talking over a decade now, this crowd really brought it, and it was a different vibe that like I haven't seen in a few years. I'm going to be very honest. This was energetic. It was passionate. You really felt what it was like to have that connection with hip hop and comics. If you are a hip hop fan or a comic fan, you felt that in that room. And I'm so happy I went, because it was just an experience that I have not seen at New York, and not to say New York has had bad panels. I don't want that going around. But there's just a certain type of energy that hip hop can bring, and to see that brought to the New York Comic Con was amazing.
To quote Rob again, I'll just throw it out there. He said to the crowd early on, "We need to show out because this is New York, and not only do we need to show out, but let's pretend it's the tunnel in on a Friday night back in the 90s." And if for those old heads of us that know what the tunnel is, the legendary tunnel in New York City that's obviously no longer here, man, the crowd brought it. The crowd really brought it. And it was cool because it was all age groups. Like there was a lot of people our age, the millennials, who this music is really our soundtrack, if you will. Just the little bit of the people a little older than us was their soundtrack as well. But there was a lot of the people who are the Slick Rick's era, who appreciate what went on, obviously, in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then, of course, the young kids, man. I was surprised how many of the young cats were out there really enjoying, you know, these legends. Like, these are legends of hip-hop. And like I said, the art design. Look this up. The art design in the book is amazing, and these albums are amazing. support what Mass Appeal's doing. Support their crossover with Marvel, because this is just a magical time, especially if you're a hip hop fan.
Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure you go check it out on Mass Appeal's website, and they'll have the link for the Whatnot and everything going on with that. Because I know they had a panel at Whatnot today. Shout out to even Gunnier Books. They did have a panel going on too as well. So like Whatnot was doing a lot of big things as well. And we talked about this on yesterday's show. You can check it on the YouTube. The digital commerce aspect of comics was really kind of showcased today as well. So it's another area of comics, but it doesn't take away from what is going on in the world of comics, because there's so much great content, and however you're consuming it is just make sure you're doing it and supporting this genre and supporting this business, because it's something that we want to see more of, and especially going into tomorrow.
Ooh,
Day 3 is going to be the biggest day of the week. It always is on Saturday, but there's the 3 panels that we teased alone, and that is just a few of the events going on.
It is a 3-way dance for the main event of the comics.
Yes.
New York Comic Con Division Finals World Championship for the next year, as DC will lead off first with the DCKO panel, obviously the biggest talk in the town. It will be followed by Skybound Entertainment / Image, if you will. And they will be putting on one of the most entertaining panels that's done every con, the Energon panel. And then last but not least, the heavyweight champion usually of most years, let's be honest, Marvel's next big thing. And if there's any indication for what the X-Men panel brought and what the Spider-Man panel brought, I'm expecting something huge out of next big thing. We already know DCKO's got a little bit of buzz out there because of this image floating around the internet, but also on top of that, it's doing gigantic with that first issue just coming out fresh on their minds. Last year, DC won the day with the launch of the Absolute series. I think we're going to see they're not going to go out without a fight here.
No, I think this one is really going to be one for the fans. I will say that 12 to 130 block of panels, and we even talked about Boom's 20-year anniversary and then some. That's a panel that's definitely got to be in that contention as well. But DCKO is really the one everybody's talking about right now. And we said that image that was released, that smart promotion right there. That's really generating a lot of buzz going into it. However, Skybound Entertainment, do not sleep on what they're coming with that panel. I mean, granted, they had the Invincible panel tonight. That's a TV thing. You can go check the other coverage here on Nerd Initiative for that. But when it comes to comics, the Energon universe is one of the best lines out there. This panel always shows up and shows out. You're going to have a lot of great information, a lot of fantastic conversation, and whatever is going to be the next wave of this universe is going to be truly something to watch, because now we're in a new era of Transformers. Dan Warren Johnson has left the book. Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora are stepping in. So who knows where we're going to get there. And we do know about some events that were teased at San Diego. We're going to hear more about them here, I would assume. And like I say, it's just to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of Transformers, honestly, to see what they're kicking into their next phase. I can't wait to hear about.
I'm just going to say, listen, me, I love the indies. I love Skybound Entertainment. I do a lot of, work for them in my reviews. So I'm never sleeping on them. DCKO, let's be honest, it's the talk of the town.
Yeah.
That's why I think you got to keep your eyes on Marvel.
Yep.
And the reason why is because nobody's talking. But everybody knows the next big thing is usually a big party. Last year, to be fair, not a lot came out of it. However, they know that DC's got the buzz.
Yeah.
They know that there's momentum with Skybound Entertainment / Image. They know that there's other indies out there. You mentioned Boom. We've talked about IDW. We've talked about Dynamite. There's a lot of good things going out there. If they're going on, and I understand there's a whole nother day, but if they're going on last on the main, comic book circuit, if you will, I think this year that I would be surprised if they dropped the ball, because Marvel has really came and showed out this year. Unlike, in my opinion, last year, it was a little more. As we said, we were looking for more. If you go back to when we recapped last year, we were all kind of, not saying we were, I would say let down a little bit, because we thought, they're going to come with the fire, and they didn't.
It's the one thing is when you set the bar so high every year, and last year was great news, but it wasn't that Hall H mic drop moment that next big thing has always been. Great news, though. I don't want to take anything away from it. This year, the only thing we know is Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to be there talking about Infernal Hulk, which I would imagine that is the book that he's been doing a different incarnation of that right now. Obviously, the teaser art came out for that in a press release, so I'm assuming we're going to hear about that. Dennis Camp is going to be there too. Obviously, the Ultimates Endgame is going to be a hot topic there. And whatever is going to transpire there, we're going to hear more information about. Plus, I would not doubt more unveilings, because the one thing is, every Marvel panel this weekend that we've gone to thus far, high energy. They really want to make a point to connect with the fans, really create that Marvel buzz that there's nothing like it. So I fully suspect that they know what's coming into it. They're also coming off the heels of the Marvel television and animated panel, which, granted, TV, but still, Marvel wants to win that day. That panel's got to hit, and so does the next big thing. So that's why I say that's our 3 big panels to go to for comics: DC, Skybound, and Marvel. But you're not going to go wrong if you go to any other one. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, whatever you're into, definitely go, because every panel, I'm going to be honest with you, every panel I've been to has been fire.
Yep.
Like, it's been amazing. Even if they weren't announcing things, it's been just fun for the fans. And you know, because I said yesterday about the Speed Racer panel, they didn't really make any huge announcements. We know we're going to continue going on. We know it's going to, but it was so much fun, and the fans had a good time. And there's been other panels like that. So you don't always have to come with the announcements. Yeah, if you're DC, you're going to. Yeah, if you're Marvel, you're going to. Yeah, if you're Skybound, because they belong in that sense. Outside of that, you don't really, you know what I mean? And I think that the fans are winning across the board. Well, like I said, I'm kind of holding out, because I think Marvel, there's been enough rumors going around for all of us who keep our eyes on the news that there's something in the works that they're being hush about. Mm-hmm. They're being unusually uber quiet about. And I don't think that there's any chance in hell they don't announce it at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, they're going big.
They know what's happening. They know what their competitors are doing.
Yeah.
They know that DC is owning the day. Last year with Absolute, for sure. This year, DCKO is, honestly, we're on the floor. That's what everybody's talking about. Coincided with it dropping this week, which was perfect timing. And we know they're going to talk more about it at their panel. And once again, is there a better universe than the Energon universe? Like, quite frankly. I love me some TMNT, but that's just a line. I love me some Space Ghost. I think it's the best book on the shelves, but that's just a line. This is a whole universe.
It's in contention with the Massiverse. I'm going to be very honest. It's in contention. But that's the great thing about comics. There's a lot of great universes out there right now, but Skybound is carving its own niche there with fans. Like, it's really making waves. It's really gaining a lot of steam in the past 2 years. And like I say, coming off of what we saw in Transformers 25 that's out, there's going to be a lot of buzz going into what they have coming on. So you can't go wrong. But like I say, Saturday's just going to be out of control. And, I mean, what else can you really say?
Oh, man, it's going to be wild. But also, I can say this. You are going to want to make sure that you are following all the Nerd Initiative social medias, because as we go to these panels, you will get pictures, you will get images, you will get our little bit of takes. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, because tomorrow night, just like tonight and just like the other night, we're going to have a nightly recap where we're going to be breaking it down. And trust me, you're not going to miss that. Want to miss that one with all the things happening. I promise it's going to be a huge one. So you're going to want to make sure you do that. Plus, you're going to want to make sure you follow that, because if you're not just looking for comics, there's a lot of other great coverage coming out of New York Comic Con. I know that our other teammates have done a interview with Wayne Brady. Mm-hmm. I know that they're going to be covering the Marvel TV panel. Yep. That is the TV and animation, panel, which I'm thinking there's going to be some great stuff coming out of that. I'm looking forward to X-Men 97 being announced, season 2, I should say, or just 97, 93. Jeez, I am over this. Yeah. I am tired, folks. But anyways, season 2 is coming. I know that they're definitely going to be talking about some other wonderful things. So stay tuned. Nerd Initiative is got your hookup for everything New York Comic Con and every fandom, whether it's comics, TVs, movies, or more, and of course pro wrestling as well. We kind of covered that a little bit here, but we're doing comics. And we're about out of time. And I'm about ready to go to bed, because it's been a hell of a day, and I'm going to have a hell of a Saturday. So, Ken, take these fine people home.
Very simple. If you want to find out about everything going on in pop culture positivity, nobody's covered New York Comic Con like Nerd Initiative. Shout out to Derek, Michael, and Tom. They've been really coming up with a lot of great videos on the YouTube channel, so you want to make sure you subscribe to it because they're going to be taking care of the TV and entertainment side of things. We've got the comics end locked down, so if you want to find out about comics, you know where to go. It's nerdinitiative.com. Follow, subscribe on all the socials, and don't miss a minute of what is going on at the biggest pop culture event of the year, New York Comic Con 2025. That being said, we'll see you tomorrow, and we're out.
This program is powered by Fantasyverse, where manga, comics, and more collide. Check their website out, because it's not a dream. It's Fantasyverse. The content you've just watched is part of the Nerd Initiative Network. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to check out nerdinitiative.com, the home of pop culture positivity.